I just think that, when you ask somebody a question that they're not expecting, right? That's when the true relationship starts. And even those questions are going to get you the answers that will even help you to give them referrals, right? So I'm sure you guys are the same way if you do a lot of networking. I know a ton of realtors, right? Doesn't mean that every realtor fits every person. So if somebody calls me and says, like, I need a realtor, I can go like, okay, what do I know about the person who's calling me? And what do I know, about the people I could recommend to that person? And I start thinking, and I may ask them questions, well, where are you looking at moving to? Right? Do you need someone that's local? Do you need somebody who's out of state? Where is that person coming from? If they're coming from out of state, do I know a realtor who is also familiar with that part of the country? Just the kind of things that you can click those boxes and go like, I've got a couple of choices for you. Let me send them over, right? Instead of just going like, here's the 75 realtors I know, you pick, right? Let me try and make some string of a connection for you.
And well, and think of the value that creates when you make a good referral, guys, right? It's not just picking the first real estate agent at the top of the list, but the one that's best going to fit the person you're making the recommendation to. And that makes you become the connector, right? That makes you the valuable resource. Next time I'm looking for a plumber, or a XYZ, I'm going to go back to the same person who gave me that other recommendation because, man, they found the fit,
So I have a really good tip on this. 4 years in, 5 years in, I don't know, where are we? I just started doing this. So in my shuffle, one of my new tags is my house. So I may have several plumbers, several realtors, several this, several that, the guy who does the sprinkler system, the guy who does the electrician. But now I'm not only putting them in shuffle as what they do and who they are and where I met them, but they have actually worked on my house. I know who I've personally used.
Yeah. What an even more powerful recommendation. Not only do I think you should use this real estate agent, the reason why is because they helped us find our house, or they helped us.
But also like, oh, there's a gusher out front. Oh, who did I use last time? I can't remember.
My house.
Call them. Hey, Lewis, I know exactly who I'm calling, right? So that was just my other little tip for that. Okay. Anna, what did you have for us?
I just have two quick little questions.
Yeah.
One is, do we have results on that author? On, how many hits she had during that week and how that using the stuff and
let me pull. I have not gathered those results. The only initial feedback I had, she had 300 people at her booth. The next closest person had 25. I know she got tons and tons of leads, but I don't have a total amount. I know that she ended up selling and having multiple online orders, even though she was giving books away. People were coming back to order additional books through the links that she had, but I don't know the total sales numbers. I know that she booked 3 additional speaking gigs just from it, and people were able to come in and say, oh, look, book me as a speaker because it was on her card. And see that information to book her. So I know that there were results across the board. I just don't have an absolute like we do with some of the others, like 200 to 300 new customers every month on average, or 10 figures in new business or whatnot.
I asked the question because I'm working with a couple of publishers, and they're looking for ways to help people market their books.
Yep.
Because just because you're a great author doesn't mean that you know how to market.
100%.
So we want to reduce that friction, right, PR?
Yep, 100%, Anna. And also, we also have to all understand, if we have an amazing card, we still have to get eyeballs in front of it. Exactly. And this is a big thing as well. So I know that she was at a big event. I know that there was a few hundred people, maybe a few thousand people at that event. I know that she's got another event that she's speaking at in Las Vegas in October that's going to have 10,000 people. So it'll be interesting to apply the same stuff and then see if it's just a scale of the same sort of, my mind is like click-through rate or conversion rate or all of those types of things. But I'm assuming it's going to be pretty consistent. But again, if you're an author and you're not out at events, or you're not speaking, or you're not, you've got to find another way. Having the content out there, content is king, but only if the eyeballs see it. You know, you could build a website and never tell anybody your URL, and you're not going to have any traffic. The website's not going to perform for you. So that would be the only other word of caution I have, Anna, for that, for those authors, or even the person who might be a publisher with lots of authors. She could mirror the same model that we did with that other author across all of our authors. And I still suspect it's going to be almost like a bell curve of results. The authors who don't do anything, they're going to be on that tail end of the bell curve. You're going to see an average of the authors who are out there doing what they do every day as part of being an author, a reading, a book signing, a launch party, or etc. And then on the other end of the spectrum on the bell curve, you're going to see like these phenomenal results where you're like, oh my gosh, I just hit bestseller status because everybody had an easy path to order, you know, or
And
pre-order.
that's what we really want.
Yeah.
Cathy's in the room tonight, and she actually used her QR codes, a couple of them, in her last presentation to the holistic chamber.
Awesome.
And she might need a little help in finding out what to look for in her back office to track her results from that event.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And the key, you'll learn this here as well, is to make sure that you're using campaign QR links if you want to differentiate. That will be a big thing. So if you didn't use those, we might not see much in the back office side of things on analytics, but if you did, we'll be able to break out and we can find and show where all of that stuff is at as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To see the number of clicks.
Yeah, I mean, that's where everything starts, guys. If we're at level 1 of digital marketing, the first thing we want to know is like views, right? And a big thing on views is even some differentiation between unique views and total views. A unique view is going to be a new, in the digital world, it's like we all have, our devices have IP addresses, right? So unique IP addresses coming to visit your card. Then if a IP address refreshes or comes back, it's going to count to the total count, but not the unique count, right? Oh, wow, this person has come back and viewed my card multiple times. Then to Anna's point, you've got things like clicks. Not only did they open it up, but did they spend time on it? Did they see something? Did we expose something to them? And did that create a click through or an action that they took? And we talked about this last week on Tech Tuesday, where we talked about those 5 elements, right? What's the goal of the card? What are the elements? What is the order? What are the calls to action? And finally, what is the design? That's the whole purpose behind that. Those calls to action is the click through that ultimately you want to see. And then it's obviously the result of those calls to action. If you're sending them over to your Amazon Audible to get the book, or pre-order on Amazon, or some other publisher site where they can pre-order the book or order the book or order the book for other people, you're going to be measuring that. And on those as well, if you have some type of analytics, even if it's not under Shuffle, you can see the source traffic would be coming from your Shuffle cards.
I hope you find that helpful, Katie. I noticed you.
I hope that's not overly technical or anything, Katie. That's not my intent at all. We want to make sure that you're getting the benefit of everything.
Not over technical. There's so much for me to learn that, I mean, Anna gave me the card that had all this information. I couldn't find it. So then I went to find every way I could find it. And I found all these new pages, but it wasn't to the link until she sent me the card. So there's a lot for me to learn. It's exciting.
It is exciting. It is exciting. And take a deep breath and take it one step at a time. And I know for sure you will get it. You will get it. And it's that sort of baby step approach. Cathy, I know you have some stuff we want to go through today, but the same thing, like once you understand where everything is at, that's half the battle, right? It's like moving into a new house or a new neighborhood for the first time. Where's the grocery store at? Oh, now I know where it's at. Great, no problems getting groceries. The first time, drove around for a half hour trying to figure out where the grocery store was, right? Same thing in your suite of tools, right? Here's where my card is at, but where's my campaigns? Where's that link for that event I went and worked? Where's the data for that? It's all nested there. It exists, but you have to first learn where it's at, and then you can start using it.
So Katie, make a note. Did you want to review last week's meeting online?
Yeah,
Already
definitely.
did.
You definitely want to use campaign QR codes. We did that at an event I was at last week, and you just want to make sure. The other thing too is before you go to that event, if you're using, like we have banners and we have tabletop things and stuff, that always check those QR codes are most current too, right? So that QR code goes where you think it goes. Don't wait till you get the event and then go, oh, that's a card I didn't update. I had, I made something new and I meant to change out that QR code. So we did have that happen to one of the vendors and we had to quickly go in the background and make some changes. So always check your QR codes before you get to an event.
Well, we talked about luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right? So this is just part of the preparedness process that we all go through leading up to our event. And the more proactive that we can be in doing that, the less reactive we have to be in the moment. Instead, we can just lean in and rest on the tools and the confidence in knowing that they're going to do exactly what we prepared for them to do. The other thing I would add on, Cathy, to what you said, and again, everybody's a little bit different on how data supports them, but the more data in my mind, the merrier. Meaning, if you're working an event and you have stage time and you're going to be sharing a presentation and there's going to be a QR code that comes up on your presentation that people will scan, I would typically do a campaign that says presentation QR code event XYZ. And then if I have a placard that sits at the booth, I create a separate QR code. You can use the same QR codes, but let's say you wanted to understand and measure the difference between the people who are watching in the audience who all pull out their phones to scan your QR code while you're on stage versus those that come up and do it at the booth. Then you're going to get some measurability. Wow, I had 10,000 people stop by my booth, but only 3 people from the audience scanned my QR code, or vice versa. It's going to give you more insight and more direction. And I think I'm all about using that data to expose to me where I need to lean in and what maybe isn't worth my while, especially for a lot of us. If we're buying booths, we might find out, well, speaking from the stage has, 10x the power of maybe being one of 1,000 booths.
Yes, definitely. If you haven't done booths before, you learn that very quickly, where it is you want to be, which ones were worthwhile, which ones were not worthwhile.
Yeah. But we don't want to be that person who just blindly goes at it. And then after the event, in hindsight, we're sort of, there's no measurability. And you're sitting going, I think it was good, but I don't know if it generated ROI, all of those sort of things.
Oh, my booth was a booth for Tap and Shuffle, and it was so fun because I had people walk up and they're like, I have this, I'm using it, I love it. And then of course you hear all the people around you are hearing them say that. And then my neighbor was like, oh my gosh, I was just learning about, another technology that's just like this, and I need this. And I'm like, well, let's get together. Like, what do you need? Like, what are you looking for? So it's like, you get those people that are interested or understand, and then all of a sudden, just like everything else, then all of a sudden the buzz is going around to the other people that are in earshot. So that was super fun. Mm-hmm. Super fun. Okay, any other questions? Anything else? Anyway, we had a couple other people join us. Anything you're trying to figure out, not sure where it is, what it does, how to find it? Something in Shuffle? Any questions?
Yeah, I got something.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned last week, I think it was, how about putting a QR code onto a funnel. How would we do that?
I don't know if I would use a QR code in a funnel. Would you, Ear?
Unless it was the entry point to the funnel,
Right.
Meaning they're offline and I'm getting them into an online funnel. Outside of that, it would be most of the time, once you're online, with the exception of like this Zoom where we have these QR codes where somebody is watching on their computer and pull out a phone, if they're already in it, hyperlinks are going to be the key. If you've got an extra link, it's going to be a button or a hyperlink versus a QR code. I do know that some of the new providers, I know iOS does this. I believe Android probably does this. If I have an image of a QR code, I can now preview that image, hold down on the QR code and it will be as if I was scanning it in real life. But that's not actively happening right now that I'm aware of in browsers, meaning if you were on a web page on your phone and there was a QR code in the browser, that it would translate into a hyperlink.
Yeah, I mean, the QR code would take you into a funnel or into the steps
And I
to
bet
get
that's
you
what
where,
was being
right?
talked to. Yeah.
Lead
I mean,
you where
again,
they want to lead you.
this is something if I recall, I know Jeff was talking about, Jeff Badgie's big on the funnels, that he would say, my shuffle cards are all the entry points into all of my funnels. And the links that I'm using might be a QR code that somebody scans to start that top level entry point, page 1 of my maybe multi-page funnel. But I don't recall him saying or hearing anything about like QR codes within the funnels.
Okay. I think
Yeah, I mean, even like, to me, I've had some people want to put a QR code on a card, or they
Mhm.
put a QR code on social media, but I'm like, if the person's looking at this on their phone, how are they supposed to get to this QR code, right? So think of how you would use a QR code. Like if you were scrolling a website on your phone and there was a QR code, how would you access it?
Well, I think that's the best question to ask, Cathy. A QR code is a share mechanism, right?
That's why they're on all the commercials, right? That's why every commercial on TV now.
You're going to see like a QR code, but they do it on TV because they know you're not on your phone. Do you see where I'm
Well,
coming
you're
from?
on your phone, but they wanted to come off the TV.
Yeah. Or like, I'm watching TV and I'm seeing the QR code on the news and I want to pull my phone out of my pocket and scan it. That's what happened at the Super Bowl with the QR code that sort of bounced on the screen that we all remember. It got so many scans, it broke the website because people were like, what is that? Curiosity, pull out my phone and scan it. But to Cathy's point, if they're on their mobile device, they're not going to scan what's already on their screen. So you're better off using a button or a hyperlink. Like
Am I the only one who watches TV with their phone in their hand? I'm multitasking.
I do.
But phone and TV at the same time. What were you gonna say, Greg?
I think who it was that mentioned it was her name was Cathy. I don't remember. It was a Cathy I hadn't seen before.
Okay.
So that had mentioned the QR code
in the funnel. Yeah, I'm not sure.
That would be me.
Oh, okay. Do you use them in a funnel somehow, Cathy?
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm putting it like at the very big. I'm putting it like in presentations. I'm putting the QR code at the beginning of the presentation, and then the second one at the end of the presentation, I put a different QR code, and it took me into the beginning of a funnel.
Yeah. Okay. So it was the entry point, like we were talking about, where you have somebody who's watching that presentation. They have a mobile device with them, and they're going to be able to scan that from the presentation and enter into the funnel.
Yeah. And I think it's working. I mean, I don't know how to track that yet. I'm still figuring that out.
Cool.
But thanks, Greg, for the question.
Sure.
And I think
absolutely.
the great use of the QR code. Again, QR code and tap, primary usage is going to be offline. So think about it from that respect, right? Where the QR code is being shown to somebody, printed on something, but it's going to be used by people in real life. The same thing with the tap. If you don't do any offline networking, this probably isn't a valuable tool to you. But if you do a lot of offline interaction, it's a great tool because you can pop a link onto somebody's device with a tap, So I think it's just looking at the share, how the connection or that share is being made and determining, is it offline or is it online? And good rule of thumb is, QR codes tap offline. There are some cases where you'd have it online, but I think those would be few and far between. The rest would be hyperlinks and buttons.
Right. Does that help, Greg? Does that make sense about how it's the beginning of the funnel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm playing with something while y'all are talking. I love this question about the QR code and the Braille. I had never thought of that. So I actually just went and looked it up while y'all were talking. And so apparently the way that people do it, for what I'm reading, would be that there would be a tactile indicator on a surface that said, please scan the QR code below, and then a square around where the QR code is so that they can figure out where to scan.
Oh, wow.
So it doesn't sound like it's the QR code itself that is raised. It would actually be something that would be like more like a frame to tell them where it is, where to scan. That's really
So
interesting.
I think that I was taking it also to another level, is that
Sure.
having a physical business card
Mhm.
that has my name on it on one side, and then the QR code on the other side. And
Mhm.
then when I have Braille on it, I wanted to know if the bumps of the Braille was going to adversely affect the marks of the QR code.
Right. So again, all I did
Something
was
like
flip
this,
over and
where you
read.
have a printed
Yep.
physical business card where you might have this QR code on there. To what Cathy was saying, typically they're putting the Braille underneath and maybe a box that's raised around the QR code so that they can feel where to scan. I mean, if they have a visual device that's helping them, that could do it. The one thing we want to be aware of, if you look at all QR codes, whether it's the one I have on my screen, this one from my old business card, you just want to make sure that there's nothing impeding the pixelated squares that are on there. So if the Braille is lifting up the black square, but it's still all black, I wouldn't see why that would have or make any issue. Although if the camera's at an angle, it might, probably have to be at a real high angle, bump up enough to cover up one of the white or black fields. That's why I think typically they put the Braille underneath the QR. Cool.
Does that help, or does that make sense? I know that those QR codes are so specific, right?
Yeah.
Even if you just cut off
Yeah.
one little tiny corner, it's not going to read proper.
That's right.
Thank you for that. I get it.
Yep. Yeah, but that's a great idea. I see exactly what you're saying, what you're doing, have the Braille say scan below, and then have some sort of an outline around that QR code so they can feel where that QR code is located.
I'm almost thinking like an embossment of that encompasses the QR code.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Anna.
Just real quickly, ER, were you able to submit to technology the concept of being able to name our uploaded pictures and QR codes?
It's in discussion. It'll go to the backlog. From an organizational standpoint, that's a big thing as we move forward into our V3, is trying to simplify and organize stuff, labeling things or replicating things like campaigns, but all of the assets that you use to build your cards,
Right.
and trying to maintain or organize those as well. I think is a big thing. So labeling is going to be a big feature. I just don't know when, to be honest. It's not a tomorrow thing, Anna, to be honest.
Good question, though. I like it. Any other questions? No? Well, so the question that I heard this week was about reviews and the best way to put reviews on your business card, which I thought was a great question. I was working with a client this week who we were doing some very basic editing, and of course that person's not a techie person, and I don't do what they do. And so we had a really good laugh. It was very funny and lighthearted, but she was just like, can you just do that for me? Yes, I will do these actions for you. You go do what you are good at, and I'll do what I'm good at, which is building your shuffle card. Because she wanted to learn how to do it, but she was just like, nope, I'm over it. So it's good to remember, right? I mean, when you really get to know shuffle, or you get to know what it is you do, that becomes second nature to you. That does not mean it's second nature to the other people. That's fine. We all have our moments of brilliance. So what she was trying to do was get some reviews linked to her card. And so are you guys already using that idea? Are you guys linking reviews to your cards already? Anybody already doing that?
I think this is a great topic. I actually said a story of coming out of my dental cleaning and seeing a sticker on the door exiting the dental office that was like, leave us a Google review, you know, and it had the Google logo, and that was about it. And I'm like, do I just slap the door here, or how do I, you know, and I think what you're talking about, Cathy, is how do we facilitate the visitor to take an action that's going to serve us or serve them? And in this case, you know, again, when we go back to those 5 elements of a card, what's the goal? If the goal is to generate more reviews, you know, and you're a restaurant and the server goes by and taps the person's phone, you know, of every customer at the end when they're getting their bill and saying, hey, if you enjoyed your dinner, we'd love a review. You know, we're 1 click away from leaving that Google Map review. You need to facilitate it, but you identify that's what the goal is. If it's a secondary goal, maybe it's lower down on the card, but that's an element, right? Leave us a review, Google 5 stars. Here's a suggestion that somebody else put, so you don't even have to think. Click this button, it's going to take you straight over there, and then you can leave the review. If you simplify the process and reduce the friction, you'll increase the odds or likelihood that the person will leave a review. I mean, if the dentist's office had just did an extra step of sticking a QR code on the door next to the leave us a Google review, then in that passing, I would have said, yeah, it's worth the effort to pull out my phone and scan that and take 3 seconds to leave a review. But because there was so much friction created in that process, I'm like, you just jogged my memory that I probably should leave you a review, but now I'm thinking that I've got to go to Google, look you up, make sure it's you, go to the review point, and it's like, my review is not worth that uphill battle. You know, and that's
not only that, but it's the dentist. Does everybody want to? I mean, I don't know if the dentist wants everybody's reviews.
right.
They should really be trying to get the good ones.
That's right. Maybe that's why they filtered it out that way.
Right. They were like, only the people that really like us are going to go on there. So you actually just brought up a whole other topic, because mine was how to display reviews. But let's talk about how to get reviews too. So sorry, Anna, go ahead.
I was just going to say I have a death and fear of dentists.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I did a lot of reviewing, and I actually interviewed dentists before I went into them.
Yeah.
So just so you know, some people are just that cautious.
Well, and it's for that dentist who does that, like, you know, certain treatments for people who might have a fear of dentists, you want to have that review highlighting you. And Cathy, I love that idea of like, not just a place where people can go to do the review, but here are our reviews. There isn't a specific element that we feed in or pull in from review sites like Yelp or Google. Maybe that's a suggestion that we can look for future template elements that can be added. But in the meantime, you could take a snapshot of whatever your current reviews are and add those things in, whether it's part of an image or image carousel. Here's other people's reviews. You know what I mean? How did you guys end up solving for that, Cathy?
That's exactly what we were going to talk about. I know. So that's why I was like wondering, like, what else is everybody doing? So I just pulled up, share this one. So I told Michael Ray I was going to use him as my guinea pig because I had his card up the other day anyways. So a couple things, right? So first of all, so they're on Facebook. So they don't have reviews on their website. If they had reviews on their website, that'd be another thing we could do, is link to that review page, right? But so if they're on Facebook, all you have to do is go to your reviews, right? So here's the company page. It's got 12 reviews. So now this is your link to go straight to that page. So this is the first idea that you were talking about. You could easily make a button that takes you to a review page, like you said, Google reviews, Yelp, Facebook reviews, anywhere that you're gathering those. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You could just simply make a button. So you can take that, come over to shuffle, again, depending on what card. I don't know what this is. Let's see. I think this is one. Yeah, this is just a basic desktop builder card.
Right there, you put leave us a review or see our reviews.
So you could do that. You could make, if you wanted to, you could put little star next to there, put a little icon on there. All right, see what they have. Oops, I gotta move everybody. Hold on. See what they have, if there's anything that you like. There.
There you go.
So have a little star, maybe make it a different color.
Looking for a Texas star.
Right.
Well, you know, add one, that'd be great. That's a little bright. You could probably dial that down just a little bit. Maybe a gold, okay. And then you would just put your review link back behind there. So again, you could actually have a card that's just a thank you card. You know, so thank you for visiting with me today. Thank you for using my services. Thank you for whatever. And
Yep.
literally just has, maybe it has, so let's go back here.
Well, and Cathy, to your point, I feel like a lot of people don't ask for reviews. And if you asked for it and you gave them a conduit to do it quickly and easily for you, people would do it, you know? And that's where I come back at like the example of a restaurant, right? What if every server had a tap card and they just tapped the customer's phone after the bill and just said, hey, if you enjoyed your meal, we would love a review. We found out that 80% of our new customers come from the reviews they read about us online.
Absolutely. So then you're just facilitating an easy way, like you said, Google, to do that. So maybe this is simply what it is, right? So you have a picture up top. Here we go. Let's make something that says, see what we have. Let's go to our photo library. Right. So maybe your vet's office. I mean, this could be anything. This could be super cute. This could be your own picture that maybe you made. There we go. So let's pull that up to the top.
And
Okay,
again,
cool.
you don't have to have all of the elements, guys. Short and sweet and simple is better. One card for one goal, the right information for the right person at the right time, right? If the goal is reviews, here's my review card. It just says thank you and has 4 links on it, nothing else.
Yeah.
And it's fine to have cards that are like that. It's fine to have a card that might have a thank you video. Maybe it's you just saying, hey, I want to thank you so much. You generalize it, right? I want to thank you so much for doing X, Y, and Z. And I'm so happy that you chose to be a customer. You know, I would love to have you give me a brief review. And if you don't mind taking 2 minutes of your time and clicking whichever, you know, review site you like to post on and leave us a quick review, I would greatly appreciate it, you know, and see what happens.
That is literally a great idea. Look at that.
Right. And what's so interesting about this, Cathy, is we're watching Cathy put this together in real time. And we can all see that as long as you understand the mechanics of this, and really other Cathy, I'm sort of speaking to you as somebody new. You learn where these elements are, where these buttons are to do this editing. Once you learn it once, it's rinse and repeat. So you can see Cathy's built a card here in 2 minutes. You know, obviously you dial it in, you'd make sure it's the right artwork or it's you holding a thank you sign or a video of you. You'd write down your copy or your text, but it doesn't need to be this multi-week process. You know, it can be something you spin up real quick and then you get out there and you use it and you iterate and dial it in over time. But once you have something that's a tool for you to now build reviews, think about this. If you focused on getting reviews and your competitor doesn't, and people are looking online for you, and all of a sudden you have 8 times the reviews that somebody else does, and they're all hopefully good reviews, now people are going to make an informed decision to go with you once they're looking for you. And to Cathy's point, not only is there a path for somebody to leave you a review, you want to put on your primary cards, read our reviews and link back to where all those reviews are, because that's the borrowed confidence that a lot of us are looking for, right? Look at what our customers have to say about us. Don't take my word, take the words of all of these people who've had a positive experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, so this is as simple as it can be, right? So as I was sitting there, ER was chatting, I was editing. Now, here's where I would get a little fancy. This is just Cathy, so you don't have to do this. This is just me. I do have the color dropper. I would take that color dropper. I would probably pull one of the yellows specifically out of the logo, right? Just pick one that I really like, that I think is pretty. I would probably come back up here and I would change that just so there was some continuity in the card and the person's logo and what's, the card, what the card is showing. Again, you can pick whatever color you want. You could do something else. I just picked one of the colors down here.
Yep.
So it's just going to kind of make it look nice to the eye. And then I would decide whether or not I wanted to put my social media, because this does kind of go along with social media. The person might be like, oh, I'm not following them. I should also follow them if I love them enough to leave them a review. And again, you could either, so you can take these and you can make them match if you want to, in case you're not aware of that.
And
So you can
colors.
go in here and match the colors. You could also change the text color instead, and then make this either white or black or whatever is appealing to your eye.
Yep. I mean,
You
there's
guys-
so much flexibility, guys, right?
This is where you can really kind of have a little bit of fun with this kind of stuff if you like
side
it, right?
panels that Cathy sees when they're on desktop, those two black bands, those could be the gold as well. And again, that I think that highlights this iterative process. You do it and then you can continue to dial it in. There's no limitation to the number of updates you can do on your cards. And as you interact with people and show them, you're going to get that feedback, or you're going to get constructive criticism that can allow you to come back and make it even better. And that I think is the most powerful thing, because once you have an element, a card that's supporting a specific function, you're going to use it every time you need to pull that out of your arsenal. You know what I mean? It's just like having another arrow in your quiver, and it's like, okay, this is my review arrow. Here we go. And the more I use it, the more I'm going to get the results of it.
Absolutely. So let's go through each one of these really quick, because well, not each of them are different. Those are the same. But so on the Facebook one here, I changed the background color. To do that, I took that hex code. So let's just kind of slowly walk through that just so you guys know what I did. So I have a color dropper, which is just one that I use from Google.
Browser-based color dropper, guys. You can look, if you use Google Chrome, it's just a plugin for Google Chrome. You type in under the add-ons color picker. And that's just going to be a quick thing from a design standpoint. You can see as Cathy moves around on the logo up in the upper corner, all the colors are coming up. This is for brand continuity, right? We want the colors to match our brand. And then she's finding the one that she wants to use, whether it's the pinks or the golds. Obviously, in this logo, there's a lot of colors. But then she's trying to bring in that continuity across the board so there's consistency. Once you have that and you know the hex code or the RBG value, you can basically choose any color. Then you're just adjusting.
So this is your hex code here. Yep. Just want to make sure everybody knows where to find it. So once you have it dialed in, if you want to use it again, just come back to the hex code that you have and copy paste.
Yep.
Copy it. Then I came down here to the Facebook button. So for example, we'll do the YouTube button.
Yep.
So then we can just change the color of either the text, which would be the inside logo.
Yep.
Or the background, which would be the background behind it.
Yep.
So that's how I did these, was changing the background.
And how did you do the LinkedIn border? Is that in gold?
Yeah. Very fancy.
A subtle one.
So for the Twitter, it's just the text color changed to the gold, but the background color changed to the white. And then for the LinkedIn, same. So text color to gold, background to white, but I added the border. So when you come in here to the border, you can see that you can have no border. Let's preview that. So I took it away. I could then go back. I have to click on the element that I'm working on so that I continue to work on that one element.
Yep.
I can have all 4 borders by choosing this button here. It's going to default to black. I'm going to click on the black and I'm going to put in my gold. Oops. Okay, so now I have 4 borders, all gold at 1 point width.
Yep.
So say I want to have it a little wider, I can make it 5 point width.
Yep.
So I can change the size of that border. And then if I want to, let me show you. So I'm going to take the border away again. That's this button here. That's going to erase it completely. I can choose the border that I want to work on. So say, for example, this is the drop-down menu here. This is going to be my left border, top border, right border, bottom border. if I want to have the two sides be black, this one and this one, but I want the top border to be gold and the bottom border to be gold. This is how, I mean, this is like literally how much you can dial these in.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
can
powerful,
change,
right?
let me make that a little bit bigger so you can see the dimensions. I can change exactly and have this look exactly what I want it to look like. So I've got two black, oh, I only changed one, two black and two gold. So that's how specific you can dial in this particular builder. This is the desktop builder.
Yep. I mean, the desktop builder, if you learn these functionalities on how to edit every element, and a quick little primer that you see Cathy doing is she's always clicking on the element in that center preview. And then on the left-hand side is all the adjustments that you can make for that element. So when Cathy is clicking on LinkedIn, that icon, she's going to get just that icon's editing capability. If she wants to adjust the button up above, leave me a review on Google, she's going to click on that, and the editor will come up on the left-hand side. And again, you can play around with it. You're not going to break anything, but you're going to learn a bunch of functionality that you do that you can really dial in what your design is. And remember, we talked about those 5 elements. What is the goal of the card? This is the review card, right? We're getting somebody to leave us a review. What are the elements we need? Well, we needed a thank you image. We needed some text. We needed the buttons that linked into our review. We needed a logo. What order did we put them in? We put the thanks at the top, the text, the buttons. And then the last step is, what is the design? That's the dialing in where you can just sit there and sort of go crazy if you want, really making it look and feel the way you want. You know, when I saw that thin little gold border around the Twitter, Cathy, it feels so Apple-esque, right? Or maybe I want it to be dark and bold and pop out and punchy. Again, that's the design, that uniqueness that you get the choice of making.
Absolutely. And again, you can make them different colors. They don't have to all match. I'm a huge matchy person, so
Yep.
I like things to match, but you know, it just depends on what look it is that you like. And again, the fact that you can literally, you know, iterate this, play with it, edit it, every time can be different, and get people's feedback, right? Do it one way, get feedback, ask people like, hey, did that work for you? Did you understand that was a button? Did you know you could push this? Did you know you could, you know, get information here? You know, maybe I have a link under the LFI button that links to the website. There's so many different things you could do. Then find out what's working for people and what is driving them, Greg, to your funnel and getting them to the top of the funnel to get them into the information, right?
Yeah.
So some of it is just also just playing around. I have fun. So that's one way to do it. We'll talk, we can talk another one. I know we're already at 3 o'clock. So this is specifically getting them to leave you a review. Like we'll talk, we can do this next time too and talk about how to highlight the reviews you already have. My suggestion to the person was either using a button that links to those reviews and then people can read what's already there, or like you said earlier, snapshotting those reviews or putting them in a Canva and then highlighting them on the picture scroller and having them scroll across the page as they're you know, learning about what you do. They can read reviews at the same time.
And you can always do both, guys. Like that image scroller, realize that every image is a potential link.
Yep.
So you can say like, here is a review on Yelp, and you give the quote, and then if they click on that, it takes them to the Yelp page. You know, here's Google 5 stars, and they click on that and it goes to Google.
That would be super cute, right? You could actually just have those logos for each one of those review sites scrolling through, and when they click on it, that's where they could go to leave a review. So many ways to do it.
Lots of flexibility. I think that's the fun part. It's flexible, so pick what works best for you.
Yep. And again, that was just a desktop. That's what was open, so I had that. But I mean, you could do the same thing on a mobile build card. Use the scroller, use a button. You're good to go.
Yep.
So yay. All right, guys. Well, have a great rest of your Tuesday. We won't keep you any longer. If you guys have anything, need anything, you know where to find us. Put it either in the Facebook group or hit one of us up, and questions, anything to CS that you need, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Awesome. Bye, everyone.
Yay. Absolutely. Have a good week.
Bye, Cathy.
New hardware. Nice, Anna. Have fun.
Take
Bye,
care,
Cathy.
guys.
Bye, everybody.